When the Reebok halftime report continues, you will hear from Dennis Rodman, suspended and fined by the league today after earlier being told to clean up his act.
You know, I'm not going to back down because a man said, hey, you got to clean up your act. If you don't, you're going to get punished. That's not the way the game should be played. You know, you got to go out there and be a man. And that's the way Dennis Rodman's going to be. I'm going to be a man. I'm going to stand up for my right. You know, if they want to kick me out the league, I think that's very unjustified. And hey, you know, they want to make me an example, and I don't think that's right either.
And welcome back to the Reebok halftime report. Dennis Rodman will sit out Game 3 of the Spurs Jazz series tomorrow night, suspended for one game and fined $10,000. Rodman's actions have placed him front and center through 2 games in that series, trying to shrug off Coach John Lucas in Game 1, followed by rough stuff in Game 2. A flagrant foul underneath as Tom Chambers hits the deck. Another flagrant foul was whistled in an incident with the mailman Karl Malone, as Rodman goes up, comes down hard on 32. He was not whistled for a flagrant on an incident here with John Stockton. Stockton suffering a bruise to his thigh on the knee from Rodman, but that did precede his second technical of the game and his ejection. Dennis Rodman and the Spurs arrived in Salt Lake City this evening, and I spoke with Rodman about a half hour ago. Dennis, in your mind, do you deserve the one-game suspension and the $10,000 fine the NBA has handed down?
I don't think so. I just think that I'm me, and I'm going to do what Dennis Rodman's going to do. And that's just the way it is.
Did Dennis Rodman cross the line over the weekend against Utah with the Karl Malone situation, the Tom Chambers undercut, the John Stockton knee?
Hey, Ernie, let me tell you something. There's a lot worse things has happened in the NBA this year, besides them saying, pinpointing one thing that I've done in a game, or saying that I deliberately put my knee at John Stockton. Why are they pinpointing the things that I do in a game? What about certain things that people do in a game? The hard fouls, the pick and roll, the going up and getting hit. What about those things? Do they count at all?
I'm not.
I just want to know. I just want to know that.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other hard fouls going on and flagrants going on in other series, but sticking just to the matter at hand. Do you see their point in the flagrants that they called in the Utah series? I mean, was that clean basketball, Dennis?
That's clean basketball. I didn't deliberately do that. I mean, they saying that I went under Tom Chambers and basically chopped him down. You know, I don't think I accidentally, I didn't do that. I just, you know, he went up, I went towards the basket, and that's basically it. And the one with John Stockton, I don't think that anyone can ever say that Dennis Rodman's a dirty player. I'm not a dirty player. I'm a hard worker. I go out there and try to kick ass, and basically that's it. You know, I did not go out there and stick my knee out and hit John Stockton in his leg. No. They trying to say that I planted it, looked down at my knee, looked at his knee, precisely when he stepped with that right foot, boom, then I stuck my knee out. That ain't the way it happened. He just came down the lane, and I tried to hit him, and I didn't get him. I just hit his leg, basically like that.
How about the impact this is going to have on this team now? You're not going to be there for what can be a pivotal Game 3. And when you do come back for Game 4, do you think the microscope is really going to be on every move you make?
I don't think it'll be on me. I think people are going to say, damn, he's back. Let's try to do something to try to destruct him. That's not going to happen. I'm going to go out there and put a smile on my face and go out there and grab 20 rebounds. And, hey, if we win, great. If we don't, hopefully that we win the first game. And then the second game we don't win, we go back to the dome and kick some butt. Basically, that's going to be it.
You know, Dennis, from talking to David Robinson, I know he appreciates the contributions that you bring to the table night in and night out. But do you have to back down a little bit at the risk of hurting this team's playoff chances now?
I'm not backing down from nobody. You know, you look at New York's team. They're a very physical team. They go out there and do it day in and day out. And they look at me and microscope me and say, oh, there's a guy right there. We got to pinpoint him and see what he does. I don't think it's fair that they look at me and say, hey, you're doing something that's not totally right. I think that's unfair. I think that I bring a lot to this game. I think I bring a lot of excitement to this game. I think people like to see the blind-head bomber going out there and doing his thing. If they don't like that, I look at it like this. The game of basketball, there are men, and the sheep run like hell. That's why I look at it.
Welcome back to the Reebok Halftime Report. Ernie Johnson and Alonzo Mourning. We've seen what Dennis Rodman had to say tonight. Where do you stand on this thing? You're a physical guy, too, and I know that emotions come into it, and you can lose your emotions at times. How do you see what Dennis had to say?
Well, Dennis is an intense player. You know, when you're an intense player and you're in this playoff atmosphere, things are gonna happen. And the playoffs are generally physical. And they're very physical, and just sometimes you got to draw the line with some of the fouls, but at the same time, you got to hold your own out there. You know, and I think some things that have happened, not just with Dennis, but in a couple of other incidents in the games throughout the playoffs, I think some of them have gone a little bit too far, and you got to draw the line sometime. But you really can't fault Dennis, because Dennis is an intense player, but he's human. And he's going to make mistakes, and when we do make mistakes, the league has set up guidelines where you'll be punished for them.
And Dennis will sit out Game 3, once again, of the Spurs-Jazz series, which continues tomorrow night. Here on TNT tonight, Denver with a 61-52 lead over Seattle. The third quarter's coming right up.